Welcome. I'm very excited that all of you are joining me here, and I'm double excited because tonight is an extra special night, and because I'm double excited, I am going to have a double book. Okay, so let's begin with I Go to the Ohel. Today my family and I are taking a special trip. We are going together to the Ohel. There are many colorful cars on the road. I wonder if any of them are going to the Ohel too. And the Ohel is where the Rebbe is, and there's a special bus that actually goes. If you're in New York, there's a special bus that goes every single day to give anyone an opportunity to come to the Ohel. We're here. On my way into the Chabad house, I kissed the mezuzah. There's a special house near the Ohel. Let's peek what's inside that house. I see the Rebbe on the big screen, giving dollars to people and smiling to everyone. When you walk in, you can get a feeling of what it was like to be in front of the Rebbe. And there's a beautiful video running of the Rebbe talking to adults, to children, and the Rebbe giving brachas to people, and a farbrengen. Tati, Mami, Mendel, and I go into the tent behind the Chabad house. It's a special, very, very big tent. It's almost as big as a house. And what are they going to do there? We each take a clean white sheet of paper and a pen. I picture the Rebbe in my mind and sit down to write a letter, because we want to remember who we're writing to and the special brachas that we can ask. Tati's letter has a lot of words. He's writing about a mitzvah he will do even better than before, and the brachas he wants for our family. Because when we ask for a bracha, we're asking Hashem for things, and when we ask Hashem for things, just like if we ask Hashem for rain, we need to make a cup. Because if you don't have a cup, then I could give you all the water, but it's going to fall on the floor. So when we ask the Rebbe to help us ask Hashem for a bracha, and we ask the Rebbe to daven for us to Hashem and to receive a special bracha, it's proper to do to take a special mitzvah. And that's like making a ruchniistic, a spiritual cup. When we do a mitzvah, it allows that when Hashem gives us the brachas, that those brachas really work very well. I only know how to write my name. So I write Mushka, Mem Vav Shin Kuf Aleph. Then I decide to give more tzedakah. That's going to be her. That's smart. That's a good mitzvah to think about others. You know, that's why the Rebbe said he gave out dollars, because the Friediker Rebbe taught him that when two people meet, you should always think about a third person. So every time you would come meet the Rebbe would give you $1 for tzedakah. That when the Rebbe and you met, let's think about a third person that could use our help. So Mushka is deciding she's going to give more tzedakah. So I draw a tzedakah box. She's going to draw. It's hard for her to write that she's going to take on the mitzvah of tzedakah, so all she has to do is make a picture. I draw a baby wrapped in a blanket because I really want a new baby, sister or a brother. I draw the Beis Hamikdash because I really want Mashiach. Now, do you see Mushka's pan? So it says Mushka. I see it says Mushka over there. Then I see a picture of a Beis Hamikdash. Oops. And I see a tzedakah box. Yeah, over there. And I see the little baby. You see the baby wrapped in the blanket? We take off our leather shoes and change into slippers. Because when we go to a holy place, we're not supposed to have leather shoes. So every time you go to any tzaddik, you actually don't go in with leather shoes. Do you remember where that's from? That's actually, we learned that from Moshe Rabbeinu. Remember when Moshe Rabbeinu came to the burning bush? What's the first thing Hashem told Moshe? Take off your shoes because this is holy ground. When we come to a tzaddik, it's a very holy place. The Zohar tells us that it's actually like the entrance to Gan Eden. And that's why when we daven in a holy place, we daven by a tzaddik, our tefillahs go much quicker to Hashem because it's literally like the door of Gan Eden. On my way to the oil, I put some tzedakah in the giant pushka. Because as we mentioned before we want our own brachas, we should always think about another person. Then I walk down the path and knock on the door. And that is actually the minhag. That's what we kind of do before we go into the oil. You don't just want to march into the Rebbe. So before you walk into the oil, you give a little tap out of respect. I see rows of lit candles inside. The flames dance in the wind. Because a lot of people have a custom to also light a special candle. Tati told me that this is the oil of the Rebbe and the Frierdiker Rebbe. They're actually together. Do you know the Rebbe is right near the Frierdiker Rebbe? And this is, my Tati tells me, that's also the place of the Frierdiker Rebbe. Everyone is davening to Hashem in this holy place. If you go and it's quite quiet because everyone is thinking strongly about Hashem and the brachas that they want, and of course how they want to make the Rebbe very proud, because when the Rebbe asks us to be better Yidden and stronger Yidden and become closer to Hashem. And the Rebbe cares so much about us, we want to give him back nachas. Like a parent that we know that our parents love us so much, we want to do things that make them happy. I say some Tehillim that I know from school. Mommy is reading her letter, so I look at mine too. I learned that the Rebbe is a tzaddik with a special neshama. He cares about me and about what I write. So every detail, and therefore the custom is that before we give it to the Rebbe, we're going to read it one more time. I tear the paper into pieces. The tearing noise is the loudest sound in the oil. Remember I told you everyone's so quiet? But the custom is that we read our letter to the Rebbe, then we rip it and put it inside the oil. No one else can read my letter now. Only for the Rebbe. Excuse me. It stays private between the Rebbe and me. I watch the pieces flutter down and fall gently into the big pile below. I hope everyone's tefillas will go straight up to Hashem and be answered right away. Do you know what happened to my mommy a few days ago? Actually happened a little while ago. She was by the oil and there was a little girl just like that, and she wrote a letter and she dropped her letter in. She didn't rip it, she dropped her letter in, And then all of a sudden she started crying and she said, I forgot to write my name. I forgot to write my name. I need my letter back. She was very sad and she started crying. And all of a sudden my mommy said Hashem made a special wind and the wind started blowing a little bit and her letter actually came right back. I'm happened right in front of my mommy. And when we're finished, we walk backwards out of the oil. It shows respect to face a holy place, and we don't turn our back. So a lot of people do that by the koisel. You don't turn around. When you leave the koisel, people actually back out. There's actually some people that even do that to a shul, that they'll never turn their back to the Aron Kodesh, and they'll actually back out of the shul. And that's kind of a way of showing respect, that we don't turn our backs. Then we go to the Rebbitzins and say more to them, because the Rebbitzins are buried right outside the oil. The Rebbe's wife, Rebbitzin Chaya Mushka, the Friedrich Rebbe's wife, Rebbitzin Chamadina, and the Rebbe Reshav's wife, believe it or not, is also buried in New York, Rebbitzin Stern Sarah. I am named for Rebbitzin Chaya Mushka, so I can read her name best. Back inside, we wash our hands after washing Netilas Yadayim after you come back. Mendel and I head straight for the cookie bin. I think I know why. We say a bracha and enjoy our treat. Tati takes some coffee and Mommy makes a cup of tea. People don't even eat before they go to the oil. You're supposed to drink before you go to the oil, but people don't eat. It's like a little bit of fasting. I look around the tent. Everyone is saying Mazel Tov to a Chassan and Kala. They just came to ask the Rebbe for a bracha. And now they can tell everyone the exciting news that they're engaged. You see the Chassan and Kala getting engaged? A man is putting on tefillin on someone else who never put on tefillin before. I know the Rebbe is happy about that. Ad Masai. When will Mashiach come so we can see the Rebbe with our very own eyes? I can't wait. Which leads me to our second book today, and I love this book because I think we always ask, what's going to happen when Mashiach comes? I'm a little bit scared. Will the world be a little bit crazy? Am I going to lose all my toys? Am I just going to... So what's going to happen? And the Rebbe told us, the Rebbe actually once wrote, that ever since the Rebbe was so excited about Mashiach, and the Rebbe said that ever since I was a little boy, even before I started going to school, I always imagined what the world will be like when Mashiach comes. So let's step in, and I love this book because it really gives us a real picture of what the day is going to be like, the day Mashiach comes, and I hope that's today. So here goes. It's called The Best Call of All. We were finishing breakfast, my family and I. I was washing the dishes, while Sarah helped dry. I was trying to think of my plans for the day. Would it be baseball or hockey? Then I heard Mother say, Now, Benny, remember, when you finish your chore, that you and your sister need to go to the store. Well, of course I agreed and worked hard to ignore that playing was fun and store was a bore. A bit boring, right? I'd rather be playing. But if Mommy said, I want to listen. Then I thought I heard something. My family did too. It was not just a noise. It was dreams coming true. The shofar was calling so loud and so clear. It was telling the world that Mashiach is here. I knew he would come, Mommy said with a smile. It was the best smile I'd seen Mother smile in a while. It's finally here. His father's eyes filled with tears. We prayed for this day for 2,000 years. It's really here. Our neighbor came running. He'd heard the call too. It's unbelievable. It's all coming true. My head seemed to spin. As I thought of each way, the world would be different from this very day. What do you think you're going to be? Where do you think you're going to be when you hear that shofar? And maybe a little bit confused or worried. What's the world going to be like? People would know why they had what they had. That it all came from Hashem and nothing was really bad. I went to my room to just sit for a bit. No, this was not a dream. This was real. This was it. So he's going to sometimes you're a little bit nervous, you want to just a bit of time for yourself, a bit of time out just to think what's going on. Is the world going to change? Is it going to be a weird type of world? I still felt like me. I looked like me too. But something was different all through and through. It felt better than baseball and hockey combined. The feel of Mashiach was the best I could find. The world seemed so happy. The world seemed so right. It was like Mashiach had finally turned on the world's light. Everyone was just so happy and everything. The sun was so sunny. Birds sang a new song. It was the world we had longed for longer than long. Yeah, I think we're waiting way too long. Over time, the world filled with kindness we showed. One mitzvah then another, till the good overflowed. And that's how we brought Mashiach. Everyone did their little part. I was happy and proud for the good things I've done. Now everyone's going to see, how much did you do to bring Mashiach? For the good, right? Could Mashiach have come from my last one? Who's going to have, I always think, who's going to be that lucky one to have that last mitzvah to actually bring Mashiach? In a flash, I forgot how I acted before. Did I really care if Sarah got more? I couldn't believe it. Was I remembering right? Did I have to be told to do homework at night? No. Then Mommy called. Benny, she rushed to my door. Was that to tell me that I still have to go to the store? Mother laughed and she said, no, not today, dear. But there's much good news that I thought you should hear. Everything was different. Not one thing was the same. The news from the zoos said that the lions were tame. No one was hungry. The world was well fed. And where there was fighting, there was dancing instead. See all the soldiers of different types of armies dancing together? There was caring and cheering. Everyone, everywhere you looked, even robbers were running to return what they took. Doctors and nurses were scratching their heads because the patients had all left their hospital beds. But the traffic report said this day was the worst because the cars were all stopping to let others go first. See, no one's moving. Everyone is so caring and everyone wants the other one to go first. The sound of the shofar announced Mashiach's first day, and a world filled with good that would be here to stay. It was the best call of all, because with Mashiach we'd see the way the world was really meant to be. This book is dedicated to the Lubavitcher Rebbe, who has commissioned each and gave us the mission, basically, each one of us to prepare the world for a time of goodness with the coming of Mashiach. And I hope that happens very soon. Everyone, thanks for joining, and let's do one extra mitzvah to make sure that it happens today. And what the Rebbe dreamed as even a little baby, and from when he became Rebbe, he said, let's do this together and make sure it happens. Amen today.